You know, woke is probably one of the most divisive words in politics today. I mean, depending on who you ask, it's either a badge of honor or it's a total joke. But behind all the headlines and the arguments, there's a really fascinating story. So we're going to get into it. We're going to uncover where this powerful word actually came from, how its meaning got completely flipped on its head, and why the battle over it matters so much.
Okay, so to really get what's happening now, we have to start right on the political front lines. This quote from Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, wow, it just perfectly captures how woke has been framed not just as some idea, but as an actual enemy that needs to be defeated. It's at the very center of political campaigns and even laws, like Florida's Stop Woke Act.
So what's wild is that this one word, it now has two completely opposite meanings. And this Ipsos poll just lays it out with stunning clarity. A huge majority of Democrats, 78%, say woke means being aware of social injustices. But then you look at the other side, and a majority of Republicans, 56%, define it as being overly politically correct. It's like they're speaking two totally different languages, but using the exact same word.
So that's the big question, right? How did we get here? To understand how woke became this political football, we have to go back. Way back to its roots, long before anyone was arguing about it on TV.
You see, the story of woke didn't start on social media or in a newsroom. Its origins go back almost 100 years, deep in Black American culture.
Its journey is really this century-long thread woven through the fight for Black liberation. In 1938, it was a literal warning. By 1962, it was being described in the New York Times as slang for being aware. Then, the singer Erykah Badu brought it back into the modern conversation in 2008. And then, in 2014, after the killing of Michael Brown in Ferguson, Stay Woke became the watchword for the Black Lives Matter movement, a powerful call to stay vigilant against systemic injustice.
And this quote from Leadbelly, man, it just hits you with the original meaning. His song was about the Scottsboro Boys, a true, tragic story of Black youths who were falsely accused in Alabama. It shows that woke wasn't just slang. It was a tool for survival. It was a direct call for Black people to stay alert to the constant, real threat of racist violence.
So the big question is, how did a word that was used for decades inside the Black community to signal awareness suddenly explode into a global conversation?
Well, the big change happened when woke went viral. The Black Lives Matter movement pushed it into the spotlight, and social media just amplified it across the world. Pretty soon, mainstream media was calling it trendy new slang, which kind of stripped it of its deep history. And as more and more people started using it, its specific, urgent meaning, which, remember, was rooted in survival, it just started to get lost in the noise. And this is where things take a turn. This confusion, this dilution of the term, it created the perfect opportunity for political opponents to grab it, reshape it, and turn it into a weapon.
Yeah, by around 2020, the transformation was pretty much complete. For many conservatives, woke just became a catch-all insult. It wasn't about being aware of injustice anymore. It was reframed as this extreme, out-of-touch ideology that you had to fight against.
And believe me, this wasn't just happening in the US. It went global fast. In France, President Macron called it a dangerous import. In Italy, Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni used it to campaign against LGBTQ+ rights. And in Germany and the UK, politicians from across the conservative spectrum, and even some centrists, started using anti-woke rhetoric as a really potent tool in their culture wars.
All right, so that brings us right back to today. And thanks to some new research, we can actually see with hard data just how broken our understanding of this word has become.
A recent study asked Americans what they associate with the word woke, and the results? Well, they paint a crystal-clear picture of our political battle lines. Things like Black Lives Matter, the Democratic Party, transgender rights, all strongly seen as woke. On the flip side, you've got things like the Proud Boys, Donald Trump, and book bans. They're seen as anti-woke. The word has basically become a sorting hat for our political identities. But here's the twist, and it's a big one. Despite all the political warfare, the research shows a surprising amount of overlap. This chart shows that when you ask Democrats and Republicans what things are woke, their answers are actually more similar than you'd think. The real fight isn't so much about what is woke, but about whether being woke is a good thing or a bad thing.
And the key difference seems to be why they label something as woke. For Democrats, the term is defined by its substance. It's about progress on race and gender issues. For Republicans, it's defined more by association. If it's linked to the Democratic Party, well, then it's woke. It's a really subtle but absolutely crucial distinction.
Okay, so you might be thinking it's just a word, but this fight, it has very real consequences that are affecting people's lives right now.
Let's circle back to that Stop Woke Act in Florida. That law uses the weaponized definition of the word to clamp down on what can be taught in schools and even discussed in workplaces. It directly targets conversations about systemic racism and gender inequality. And even though courts have blocked parts of it, its chilling effect on free speech and education is absolutely undeniable.
So when you boil it all down, the stakes in this war on woke are just incredibly high. It's used to whip up moral panic, to divide us. It's used to justify real-world harm against marginalized groups, especially transgender people. And maybe most importantly, it serves as a massive distraction from other urgent, really complex problems. Things that are a lot harder to solve than just yelling about a word.
And that really leaves us with one big question to think about. The journey of this word, woke, from a call for survival to a weapon in a culture war. It forces us to ask, when all of our political energy is being spent fighting over a single word, what truly important conversations about our future are we completely failing to have?